Hello fellow nerds, this is Jean and I am a nerd that knits. It is fall weather, my friends. We are finally into some perfect sweater weather. Bear with me as we talk about the perfect fall sweater pattern. So fall weather is upon us and it is glorious and it is beautiful and it's starting to get cold. There is a pattern that came out back in May 22, and for me it personifies what I think of a nice, cozy, loungy fall weather sweater. And that would be the Easy V, made and designed by Caitlin Hunter. Now, Caitlin Hunter is a pretty much like an OG of the designing knitting world in my mind. She's got a lot of amazing knits out there that I definitely encourage you to look at. But this one is pretty, like the title, easy. It's an Easy V and I really like it. So let's kind of break down what's so great about this sweater. First of all, it's a worsted weight, which is great because, quite frankly, sometimes I'll be gifted balls of yarn from family and they're like, oh, it's a worsted weight, but it's just one ball of worsted weight yarn. What am I going to do with one ball of a worsted weight yarn? And this is the perfect project for that. And in fact, you kind of need multiple balls of just one particular yarn. So there is a main color and then there's a bunch of other colors that obviously are going to be contrasting colors. And for this project, you can go matchy-matchy or you can go more blendy-blendy. What I mean by that, matchy-matchy or blendy-blendy, is you can kind of go for more of what she has in her pattern, which is like more tweedy. She used yarns that are kind of like variegated and they kind of change colors and they kind of, you know, have more of a blending kind of effect that you're going for. Or like what I went with my pattern is I kind of did just contrasting colors, but they're more solid colors. So it's not as like, it's more like they're fine lines as opposed to what her pattern is that because of the variegated colors, it's very kind of muted and blended together. And the colors that she picked for her palette on the, I would say on the model of the pattern that she used, it to me is very Southwest colors. My parents had their entire kitchen done up in Southwest colors, so I am not fond of Southwest colors just because it triggers my the colors of my kitchen. And I know some of you are like, oh, the colors of my kitchen, and mine were like, ooh, the colors of the kitchen. This time around, when I make, it's not if, it's a when I make this sweater again, I think I will try to find colors that are a little bit more blended because it kind of gives it more of a painting kind of look as opposed to what I went with, which was like very, very like color definition and those fine lines. You'll see it. It's a very more of a like, okay, this color starts, this color stops. This pattern is $9, which I think is completely reasonable. What I also like about this pattern is it starts off the top and then it goes down, which I love top down. Also, it's very slouchy because it's a deep V. So it kind of does that sexy like off your shoulder kind of thing. And if you don't like that sexy kind of like almost flash dancey kind of off the shoulder thing, then maybe steer clear of this pattern just because worsted weight, it's a little heavy and then it just naturally hangs a certain way. It's definitely more like a boyfriend sweater kind of vibe. It's just a very relaxed, very loungy, and that's what's great about this pattern in particular. Another part that I love about designers these days and I really want to encourage, so let's encourage this behavior, they're including what I would call coloring sheets. Another designer that does coloring sheets is Stephen West, and I love it. What I mean by coloring sheets is they have a picture of their particular design in black and white, and then you can print out the picture and you can take crayons or color markers or whatever and you can color it in to see what your finished product is going to kind of look with your yarn. Now, I know this is particularly hard with some yarns, obviously, because they're not like a straight color, but just the overall concept is so cool. I download the pictures on my iPad and I use Procreate, which is a certain program that you can get for your iPad. I think Procreate's like $30, and then if you have an Apple Pencil, and I basically color it in with my Procreate paints or markers or whatever, what have you, whatever one I decide to use for Procreate. I use Procreate more for this because then I can turn around and upload it to put it on YouTube videos. But not only that, is that if I don't like a certain color, I can easily change it, and I don't have to like, color everything in. I can just change out one color on my iPad, which is great. So I really like using Procreate to do that. And also, another thing I really like about Procreate is that I can take a picture of all my balls of yarn, and then I can actually click on the color icon in Procreate, and I can create a color from the ball of yarn. So I don't have to like keep on matching, like, oh, I think this crayon might look good, or this color pencil. So I like the fact that I can use technology to try to get the perfect shade. That way I can really get a perfect view of what the sweater might look like. It's something fun to do while you're listening to music and you're like, I am coloring, and it's so much fun, and it really does help. What I like about this particular pattern, and why I say it's really easy for color changes, is because the color change chunks are bigger. So in like a Fair Isle knitting, you'll have a lot of color changes, but it's very fine, detailed. You only maybe have like, let's say like you've got like maybe one row of red, and then the next row is white, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. This has got like a pretty good chunk of color change work. So you're not changing your colors all the time. You're changing the colors periodically throughout your knit. And also it's just more of a gradual color change too. On a personal note, I was wearing this sweater out to pick up my daughter from the bus, and the bus driver was telling me that it reminded him of a Norwegian sweater, which I thought was a big compliment, because Norwegian sweaters are gorgeous and they do have a lot of this color variation. And so I feel that if you have not gotten into color change work, or you're kind of like, oh, I'm a little like, oh no, like this would be a great one just to kind of dip your toe into. For me, I felt I didn't need to add any extra length. It hit me pretty well. The sleeves have a really nice, they're kind of a little bit more of a bell shape, so they're not super fitted. That kind of gives it more of that slouchy, kind of loungy feel. So overall, I really like this sweater.
fellow nerds, this is a sweater check. The designer of this pattern suggested that at this point you should put your stitches on a stitch holder like so, and then steam it to block it to see what it would look like, you know, once it's nice and done. And I did that, I steamed it, and I am loving the way that it's looking right now. I like the fact that the pattern just kind of hits right at the bust, like obviously not like the bust line, but a little bit under, and so that's just gonna be great. And then also right after this step, this is where you separate the arms, and then you separate the front and the back, you know, do the tube for the body. So like this is also really great if you're like, I don't know what size I should do. So this is perfect. This is not all the way blocked, this is just steam blocked. But I'm actually really liking how steam blocked it is, so I don't know. We might just steam block this sweater. I have yet to decide. But yeah, so this is just a sweater check of what it looks like. This I would definitely advise if you're doing this pattern. I'm really liking how you can see all the detail. I probably will start doing this for color work just so I can kind of get an idea of how it fits, because color work is kind of hard to gauge, right? I feel that color work is hard to gauge. So this is just a brilliant idea of just steaming this half, because I mean, if you're gonna invest the time, you might as well do kind of like a size check, and this is a perfect size check. And it, you know, you can see how pretty it is, if the colors will look well, how it lays out, how it looks on your body. So I'm very happy with all of this.